Okay, well, I was very much in doubt to record this video or not to, but considering that I think it was a couple of days ago that Maia Sandu said that it's our domestic issue and other countries should not be involved in our policies and our legislation and uh, the rules that we have in our country and the laws that we go by. I decided, since I live in Moldova and I'm a citizen of Moldova, I decided that I should probably voice uh, my opinion and some of my concerns and the solutions, most importantly, that I see to the present situation. And another reason would be that I did indeed vote for Maia Sandu in hope of the fight against corruption in Moldova, and things would be turning for better. But once again, that we at some point we had COVID, and now this war conflict in Ukraine, call it whatever it may. Today I do want to talk. So I started this channel, and I do want to not really to express an opinion, because I don't have an opinion on all the issues, but I want to discuss certain things with you, and I want people to know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not doing that in Russian or in Romanian. Um, I'd say those people who speak Russian, they're biased probably towards, Russia in Moldova. And those speak Romanian, most of them again are biased towards the European Union and Romania. And I guess those who make an effort to listen to me and try to understand what I'm saying, and who speak even a little bit of English, these are the people I probably want to talk to, plus our government and policymakers, and maybe some people in the West. I don't know if they try to find something about Moldova or try to understand our country a little bit better. So I do want to talk about one particular thing that happened these last 2 days, and that was, it started like last week, I think, and that was the ban of the St. George's, ribbon. Well, to start off, when it just kind of came to Moldova, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago, it became extremely popular. Never really thought too much, never really cared about that. Still being a Russian speaker, I think I had one and maybe word for a day, during all of this time, 8 years or 9 or 10 years, something like that. But now we got to a very interesting situation. And so on the news again, there is this ban, and I think Maia Sandu basically ratified it or approved it, signed, and now it's in our official record, right? So it's starting yesterday, became a law. And I'm a little bit worried about the timing of this ban. So today is 21st of April, right? And let me talk a little bit about the timing. So again, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, we can talk a little bit about that later. This ban, should people wear it? Or should they be allowed to wear it? Or it should be banned completely? I'm worried about the timing, really. And I think it was a huge mistake to introduce this ban right now. Thinking about why it's now, I have a couple of ideas. One of them, maybe we want to show that we're a strong nation and that we are not afraid. Well, we are strong as people, as individuals, not militarily. I think people in Moldova are very strong, deep down in their hearts, and they love the country. Are they afraid? Well, I think we are afraid. We are afraid that certain bad things can start happening in Moldova. We are afraid, or some of us, that even the war could come here, right? So this argumentation that, we are strong, to show that we are strong, that we are not afraid, I don't think it's true. And second point, second thought I had, okay, what else? Why not? Again, well, in the last month and a half, surprisingly, lots of European and international officials, found an interest in Moldova. And I think all the people that have visited Moldova in the last month and a half or 2 months, it's more than we have seen in 10 years, coming. And I'm talking about, what's his name, Borrell, right? Von der Leyen, and many, many other officials, European officials, right? Have a feeling, I don't know, maybe they came and they had certain discussions, with Maia Sandu and our Moldovan officials, and I don't know, maybe they promised certain things. Maybe they promised that we would join the European Union sooner, or most likely offered, financial support and help for Moldova, which we need. We really need. Inflation is high, and not just that, but it seems like we have more and more deficit in our budget, considering that we still run lots of different projects, and we try to improve life in Moldova. So I don't know, again, maybe it was that, so there were certain promises, maybe in exchange for the alignment with the all of the sanctions, the European Union and the United States and other countries, Canada. I mean, not, okay, maybe 70% of the international community has introduced. So maybe that. Another reason could be, I mean, from what I see, what I understand, maybe there is this feeling that Russia is weak and it's losing the war in Ukraine. I mean, I watch lots of Western TV channels and YouTube channels and media in general, and this idea that Russia is losing the war, is gonna lose the war, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, half a year, but eventually they're gonna lose. So maybe that is something that bolstered, this new law that we have in Moldova, the introduction of that law, that Russians are not as strong anymore right now. And I mean, we can, the way Mersheimer, Dr. Mersheimer puts it, we can stick a bear in the eye or something, right? And no consequences for us, for Moldova. So these are the reasons that I see, right? Other than that, I think the timing is probably the biggest mistake. Again, is it a good law or a bad law? I don't care that much, right? Okay, it's important for people in Moldova. It is important. But I personally don't care that much. However, the timing is terrible. So our contract for Russian gas ends on 1st of May, right? And we also have assumed certain to do certain things before that, which is the audit, right? To confirm the debt that we have, or maybe it's less. I mean, Moldova Gas has towards Gazprom, and we haven't done it. And it's in the contract, and we haven't done it. And I'm pretty sure that we'll have to go and humiliate ourselves and ask the Russians to continue pumping the gas to Moldova in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks. So this idea that we introduce such a law, which is obviously against Russians, I mean, that's what Sakharov said, for example, and then expect them to continue selling the gas to us, actually signing. I mean, they would probably respect the contract, the old contract, right? That we can sign another contract, better conditions, or the same at least conditions, which are not maybe very favorable right now. I think that would be expecting too much. So that's one. Number two, well, the 9th of May, right, is coming. I mean, people in Moldova will be celebrating. 10%, 15, 20% of people, well, something like that. Well, probably not more than, let's say, 40% of people. people, right? Somewhere there, I would estimate it around 20%, you know. So people will be celebrating. It's coming. It's in a couple, several weeks, 3, 4 weeks, and we introduce this law right now. Terrible time. Terrible time. Okay. So what could be the consequences of this very bad decision? First, no gas. Likelihood of that, I'd say 50%, 50-50. So there is a 50% chance that in May, we're not going to have gas in Moldova. And the only good thing I see in that it's May and then June and July, right? So we do have 2, 3, 4 months to solve this problem and, not to freeze here in Moldova. However, still, it means probably less electricity for Moldova, right? I mean, again, industry and so on, right? I mean, we need gas, even if it's May. I'm talking about public. I'm probably more interested in the general population of Moldova. And, in my later videos, I'll be talking about that. We'll talk about values and moral issues and things like that, which are probably a little bit more important than the geopolitics. Well, that's important too, of course. So the only good thing, it's in May, but it's not December, November, or February, January, some of the winter months, the coldest months in Moldova. Second, which could probably be even worse, it's civil unrest, right? So again, the 9th of May is coming, and I am pretty sure that there will be, if the law stays till then, and I think it will, so there will be civil unrest, there will be demonstrations. Well, I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of people, but I'm talking about hundreds of people and maybe even thousands of people who our government said they would treat kind of individually and would either detain or fine or whatever, but they actually promised or gave an ultimatum they would do that. So civil unrest are pretty bad, and it depends on the magnitude a lot. So again, if we're talking about several hundred people, then we can calm the spirits down a little bit in Moldova. If the question will be of thousands or tens of thousands of people, then anything could happen after that. Either the government is replaced, we have like not a color, but revolution of some sort, or army from one side is introduced or from the other side. I don't know. I mean, I had this thought, maybe even like could be some peacekeepers or something from the European Union here, not very likely, or actually Transnistria, Russia, and an army or something could be sent from there to help the people under subjugation or something in Moldova that have to be freed. But again, I mean, it could happen in 3 weeks. But what's the starting point? Well, the starting point is this law. Why not introduce it May 20th? In this way, you are good, kind of towards the European Union. You keep your face, you kind of introduce, you just say, well, it took a bit more time to introduce it. We needed to consider it carefully. And it's after the victory or the Europe's Day that is celebrate Moldova, right? And then people will be there. So why not now? Why not then? Why now? Why can't you wait? Why couldn't you wait for 3 weeks, just 3 weeks? And you do it now. So yeah, one possible outcome, no gas. Even more likely, demonstrations, civil unrest, which will not help too much, right? Could be some sort of political intervention, right? So we are very vulnerable now. So the power I actually have a feeling that Pastor Maia Sandu might not be elected, for the next term. But it could come even sooner, like, if there are demonstrations, if people come to the streets. So that there could be like some external force that will maybe pro-Russian, well, definitely pro-Russian, right? That could kind of, do it faster than that. So it could happen again, June, let's say, or the end of May or July. And of course, not the least here, again, because of some of these things, Russians could get there. I mean, we saw Lukashenko with that map, and then everyone says, I mean, I read every other day that somebody says no threat to Moldova. There is no threat. There is no evidence of a possible threat, right? But every time I read something like that on the news, I have a feeling like, well, might change tomorrow, right? Might change in 2-3 days, where somebody could have a press release say, well, there is evidence of a threat and so on. Well, we saw Lukashenko with that map. Clearly, one of the errors was pointed towards, Transnistria. So there is this chance there. Okay, I will probably estimate that at maybe 10, 15 to 20%. So it's not very likely, at this point, but it's there. It's there. Of course, we do have many laws in Moldova, and one of the ways to go around them is basically not to enforce them. And it could happen as well. I mean, if our government is smart, they showed their position, Again, they scored big, maybe with the European Union, but I think they still lost a lot, towards Russia and so on. But if they don't enforce this law, like strictly, then at least there is this chance that, the situation will be nice and quiet. Very interesting when I was going to show the video Maia Sandu talk. A big chunk of her speech there was about peace, in fact, and try not to, enable these demonstrations and protests and conflicts between people. Yeah, that's the better word. And then what she does, it's actually destabilizing the situation herself. So when she was explaining this law, she talked about not creating an internal conflict, and that's exactly what the law does. Huge mistake, in my opinion, huge mistake. So that's talking about law, this particular law, and the attitude. Again, is it a good law or a bad law? It doesn't matter. But I think as a consequence, as a result of this law, Moldovans have a lot to lose and very little to gain, like nothing to gain. So, and I had this thought, why? All right, I understand with the letters V and Z, right? I mean, we never associated that with like Victory Day or anything, right? Why not be smart? Why not ban letters V and Z, for example, right? I mean, now or later, you ban those two letters because they're associated with the war. And in the same breath, you say, but we keep the St. George's ribbon because we actually think that it's about World War II, right? And that victory. And you kind of take away something from, people, but you give them something back and you explain that. And I would say that Maia Sandu would score lots of points, with the Moldovan population, and would go up in her ratings. And I don't see a conflict, in a decision like this. it's absolutely reasonable and meaningful, right? So you ban V and Z, you keep the ribbon, you say, yes, definitely. I mean, use it if you want, wear it if you want. Yeah, don't maybe call people, or don't try to justify the war in Ukraine. Don't call people to violence or anything like that. But other than that, you can use the why not do that? And again, the timing. So my problem number one is time. Um, then I will probably, I want to ask questions as well. So why do you think the law was introduced now? And would you agree with me that there will be consequences and, these kind of consequences, well, maybe something else, and what the solution would be? So again, the way I see it, change it. Say, wear the ribbon, no letters V and Z, kind of apologize at least to the people here in Moldova, right? We will have again to probably go May 1st, and humiliate ourselves and ask for gas. I don't understand. Well, that's for the first video on what I think about this particular decision of our government. Have a great day.